American success story, I think, and that's why the documentarian.
For decades, Joe Walsh and Don Henley were at the heart of one of rock music's most enduring legacies. As founding members of the Eagles, their collaboration produced some of the most iconic songs in history, shaping the sound of an era. Yet behind the music and sold-out tours, tension often simmered, disagreements, creative differences, and personal conflicts that fans could only speculate about. Now, at 78, Joe Walsh has chosen to speak openly, revealing details about his relationship with Don Henley that fans have long wondered about, but never heard confirmed. His words are candid, reflective, and, in many ways, unflinching. They reveal the strain of long-term collaboration under the pressures of fame, the challenges of egos and artistic vision, and the personal toll of sustaining success in one of the world's most scrutinized bands. This is more than a story about rock music. It's a look into loyalty, disappointment, and the complex dynamics that define some of the greatest partnerships in entertainment. Walsh's revelations do not simply revisit past disagreements, they provide insight into how decades of triumph, tension, and personal choices shaped not only the band's legacy, but also his own life. In this documentary, we explore Joe Walsh's surprising confession, the truth behind years of speculation, and why his relationship with Don Henley, despite decades of collaboration, ended on a note that is far from harmonious. Joe Walsh and Don Henley first joined forces in the early 1970s, shaping what would become one of the most iconic rock bands in history, the Eagles. Their collaboration produced legendary albums, unforgettable riffs, and chart-topping hits that defined a generation. To fans, their relationship seemed seamless, a partnership of talent and vision. Behind the scenes, however, the story was far more complex. From the beginning, creative differences marked their dynamic. Henley, known for his exacting standards and disciplined approach to songwriting and performance, often clashed with Walsh's freewheeling style and irreverent humor. Walsh brought spontaneity, innovation, and technical mastery on guitar, but he also challenged authority and conventional methods. This tension, while contributing to the band's unique sound, created friction that persisted throughout their careers. Recording sessions often became arenas of debate. Walsh recalls moments where disagreements over song arrangements, production choices, or vocal responsibilities escalated into heated discussions. While both men shared a deep passion for music and a commitment to excellence, their differing temperaments sometimes led to strained interactions. Bandmates and insiders observed these clashes, noting that the creative sparks which fueled hits also sparked personal conflict. Even as the Eagles achieved monumental success, the pressure of fame intensified underlying tensions. Grueling tours, high expectations from fans and labels, and constant media scrutiny amplified disagreements. Walsh witnessed Henley's perfectionism firsthand, how it could drive the band to incredible achievements, but also how it could alienate those who didn't conform to his vision. Conversely, Walsh's own playful irreverence occasionally tested Henley's patience, creating a delicate balance between collaboration and confrontation. Despite these challenges, Walsh and Henley shared moments of mutual respect and understanding. They recognized each other's talent and influence, even when frustrated by differences. Walsh's guitar work, inventive solos, and improvisational skills complemented Henley's vocals and songwriting in ways that defined the Eagles' signature sound. Yet these professional acknowledgments did not erase the personal strain that simmered beneath the surface, a strain that would eventually resurface decades later. One establishes the foundation of their relationship: brilliant collaborations shadowed by personal tension. Walsh's reflections today, at 78, reveal that this duality was present from the start: success intertwined with struggle, creativity intertwined with conflict. Understanding this early dynamic is essential to grasp why, even after decades, the relationship between Joe Walsh and Don Henley remained complicated, and why his recent revelations carry weight far beyond nostalgia. As the Eagles' fame skyrocketed in the mid-1970s, the pressures of success intensified the underlying tensions between Joe Walsh and Don Henley. Stadium tours, relentless recording schedules, and the constant demands of fans and the media amplified the challenges they had already faced during the band's formative years. While their combined talents produced hits that would endure for generations, The personal dynamic between them became increasingly strained. Walsh has admitted that during this period, the band's creative process was often tense. Henley's meticulous approach to music, his insistence on precise arrangements, harmonies, and lyrics sometimes clashed with Walsh's improvisational style and willingness to experiment. What made their sound revolutionary also made collaboration difficult. Recording sessions could stretch for hours as debates over guitar riffs, vocal takes, or song tempos escalated into arguments. Even minor disagreements could linger, fueled by fatigue, ego, and the high stakes of delivering world-class music to a growing audience. Touring only added another layer of complexity. Backstage, the pressures of travel, performance schedules, and public scrutiny brought moments of exhaustion and frustration. Walsh recalls instances where Henley's exacting standards created tension among the band members, yet simultaneously pushed them to achieve their best performances. The push and pull between artistic discipline and creative freedom became a defining feature of their partnership. Despite the friction, there were moments of mutual acknowledgement. Walsh recognized Henley's immense talent as a vocalist, songwriter, and bandleader, while Henley respected Walsh's guitar mastery, stage presence, and ability to inject energy and spontaneity into performances. Yet respect did not eliminate friction. It merely coexisted with it. These contradictions, admiration, mixed with frustration, would shape not only the band's dynamic, but also Walsh's later reflections on the relationship. It was during this era that Walsh's feelings toward Henley began to crystallize. The combination of high stakes, creative disagreements, and personality differences created an undercurrent of resentment that would linger over the years. In interviews decades later, Walsh candidly acknowledges that while the Eagles' music remains iconic, the personal toll of maintaining harmony within the band often went unspoken. Long-term collaborations rarely exist without compromise, and for Walsh and Henley, the compromises were sometimes difficult to navigate. Captures the duality of success, the glory of record-breaking albums and sold-out tours, alongside the strain of constant collaboration under pressure. Walsh's account underscores that fame, while rewarding, does not erase personal challenges. Instead, it magnifies them, leaving patterns of tension, conflict, and unspoken grievances that can endure long after the applause fades. This sets the stage for Walsh's revelations today, explaining why, even after decades, his perspective on Don Henley is colored by both respect and lingering dissatisfaction. As the years passed, the relationship between Joe Walsh and Don Henley remained complicated. While the Eagles' music continued to top charts and their influence grew across generations, personal differences that began in the 1970s lingered beneath the surface. Walsh has candidly admitted that the bond between him and Henley was never fully repaired, and that unspoken grievances accumulated over decades, shaping his view of their partnership. Key incidents during their tours and recording sessions left lasting impressions. While fans saw seamless performances and harmonious collaborations, behind the scenes, disagreements over creative direction, business decisions, and personal conduct created rifts. Walsh recalls moments when his input was dismissed or overshadowed, not out of malice but often due to Henley's strong vision for the band. For a musician as talented and passionate as Walsh, this sense of being unheard contributed to a growing sense of estrangement, even as the Eagles continued to achieve unprecedented success. The tension was further amplified by the pressures of the music industry. Record deals, management decisions, and expectations from a devoted fanbase created an environment in which compromise was difficult. Walsh explains that the very traits that made Henley an effective leader, perfectionism, decisiveness, and control, made him challenging to collaborate with on a personal level. Over time, this created a persistent emotional distance between the two men. A distance that fans could sense but rarely understood fully. Despite the ongoing friction, Walsh never denied Henley's talent or contribution. He frequently acknowledged Henley's role in shaping the Eagles' sound, songwriting, and cultural impact. Yet admiration was tempered by frustration, a duality that persisted through reunion tours, interviews, and public appearances. For Walsh, this duality is central to understanding his reflections today. Respect for Henley's abilities, but disappointment in the personal toll their collaboration took, highlights how decades of estrangement and unresolved tension shaped Walsh's perspective. It's a story that contrasts the public perception of camaraderie with the private reality of strained relations. The underscores that even in a band celebrated for unity and musical brilliance, personal dynamics can remain fraught, leaving lasting effects on those involved. These long-standing issues provide essential context for Walsh's candid statements at 78, revealing not only the challenges of sustaining creative partnerships but also the emotional complexity behind some of rock's most enduring collaborations. In essence, the Eagles' legacy is inseparable from both their musical triumphs and their personal struggles. Walsh's reflections remind audiences that fame and success do not erase human conflict. They often magnify it. Understanding these underlying tensions is key to appreciating why Walsh's revelations about Don Henley are as striking as they are honest. At 78, Joe Walsh has finally chosen to speak openly about his decades-long relationship with Don Henley. And the revelations are candid, unflinching, and, for many fans, surprising. For years, the Eagles' public image projected harmony, camaraderie, and musical brilliance. Behind the scenes, however, the dynamic between Walsh and Henley was far more complicated, marked by disagreements, unresolved conflicts, and emotional distance. Walsh's words now illuminate the human realities that underpinned one of rock music's most iconic partnerships. Walsh emphasizes that his respect for Henley as a musician has never wavered. He acknowledges Henley's immense talent as a songwriter, vocalist, and bandleader, and recognizes the role Henley played in shaping the Eagles' sound and global impact. Yet admiration alone cannot erase the strain of decades-long personal tension. Walsh recounts moments when creative contributions were dismissed or overlooked. Decisions were made unilaterally, and differences in temperament created recurring conflicts. These experiences, compounded over years of touring, recording, and public scrutiny, left an emotional mark that lasted far beyond the height of the Eagles' fame. Speaking out at this stage in life, Walsh also reflects on the broader pressures of sustained success. Fame, he notes, magnifies personality clashes and intensifies disagreements that might otherwise have been minor. In the Eagles, personal egos, perfectionism, and the weight of expectation often collided, producing friction that shaped both their music and their relationships. Walsh's decision to finally address these issues underscores the lasting impact such dynamics can have, even decades after the events themselves. Yet Walsh's reflections are not entirely negative. They offer insight into how two strong personalities can simultaneously create extraordinary music while struggling to coexist harmoniously. The tension between Henley and Walsh, while painful at times, also contributed to the Eagles' distinctive sound, blending technical precision with creative freedom. Walsh's honesty at 78 provides a nuanced perspective. He respects Henley's genius, but he refuses to downplay the emotional cost of collaboration under pressure. Captures the emotional conclusion of this long story, a mixture of respect, frustration, and reflection. Walsh's revelations remind fans that behind legendary bands and celebrated music are human relationships, often imperfect and complex. At 78, speaking openly allows Walsh to reclaim his narrative, providing closure and perspective on a relationship that shaped his life, both personally and professionally. The story of Joe Walsh and Don Henley is thus not only about music history but also about the personal realities that define collaboration, ambition, and legacy in Hollywood and the world of rock music. In the end, Walsh's candidness leaves a lasting impression. Greatness can coexist with conflict, admiration with frustration, and achievement with personal sacrifice. By finally breaking his silence, Walsh offers a rare, honest glimpse into the costs of fame, the complexities of creative partnerships, and the truths that linger long after the applause has faded.